The year is 2374. Humanity has spread across the galaxy, joining a vast interstellar community known as the Galactic Federation. When we first made contact, our alien neighbors were fascinated by us, but also a little bewildered. One thing, in particular, completely baffled them: our relationship with pets. The Xylans, a species of silicon-based lifeforms, found it illogical. You expend resources on a non-sentient creature that provides no tangible output? It does not produce food, generate energy, or offer data. It is a biological drain, their ambassador once said, gesturing with a crystalline limb toward a holographic image of a golden retriever. The Grebulans, a species of amphibious scholars, were simply amused. They would watch transmissions of humans cooing at fluffy animals and emit a series of gurgling sounds that was their equivalent of laughter. To them, keeping a creature for companionship was the height of primitive sentimentality. On every human ship, station, and colony, you'd find them. Dogs, birds, lizards, and of course, cats. We tried to explain the concept of emotional support, of the simple joy derived from a purring cat or a wagging tail. They just didn't get it. They saw our pets as useless, decorative organisms, fluffy liabilities, a sign of humanity's emotional immaturity. That was until the incident on Starbase Epsilon. Starbase Epsilon was a marvel of engineering, a bustling hub of trade and diplomacy located deep in the uncharted Kepler quadrant. It was home to thousands of beings from dozens of species, a true melting pot of galactic cultures. And it was also home to a very special resident, a ginger tabby cat named Marmalade. Marmalade belonged to Chief Engineer Anya Sharma. He was, in every sense, a typical cat. He spent most of his days sleeping in sunbeams filtering through the viewport, demanding chin scratches from anyone who passed by, and occasionally knocking styluses off control panels just to watch them fall. The alien delegates on the station were endlessly entertained by his antics. The Xylan ambassador would often halt mid-negotiation to observe Marmalade meticulously grooming a paw, declaring it a fascinatingly inefficient use of time. The Grebulans would gather around to watch him chase a laser dot, their throaty chuckles echoing down the corridor. To them, Marmalade was the station's official mascot for human absurdity. One day, everything changed. A distress call came in from a nearby freighter. They were under attack by an unknown vessel. Before their signal died, they sent a single garbled bioscan. It was a creature unlike anything the Federation had ever encountered. It was designated Specimen Zero. Panic began to ripple through Starbase Epsilon. Soon after, the station's long-range sensors picked up a breach. Something had gotten aboard. It was small, fast, and impossibly stealthy. It moved through the ventilation shafts, bypassing security checkpoints with ease. The first victim was a Grebulan maintenance worker found in a service duct. There were no visible wounds, but all vital fluids had been drained from his body. Fear turned to terror. The station went into lockdown. Armed security teams swept the corridors, but found nothing. The creature was a ghost. It was a perfect predator, using the station's own infrastructure as its hunting ground. It could mimic sounds, camouflage itself against the metallic walls, and move with absolute silence. It picked off 2 more crew members, one Xylan and one human, in the same horrifying manner. The station's advanced tracking systems were useless. The alien delegates who once laughed at humanity's fluffy liabilities were now huddled in fear, their advanced technology proving completely ineffective. The command staff gathered in the bridge, a grim atmosphere hanging in the air. Chief Engineer Sharma was there, her face pale with worry. And that's when Marmalade trotted in, tail held high, as if it were just another Tuesday. He hopped onto a vacant console, stretched, and let out a soft meow. The Xylan ambassador made an irritated gesture. "Engineer Sharma, please secure your biological accessory. This is not the time for frivolous distractions." Before Anya could respond, Marmalade froze. His ears swiveled, his body went low to the ground, and a low, guttural growl rumbled in his chest, a sound none of them had ever heard him make before. His eyes, usually soft and green, were now dilated, focused intently on a ceiling grate across the room. He wasn't looking at the grate. He was looking asterisk through asterisk it. The security chief raised his pulse rifle. "What is it?" "I'm not picking up anything." Anya put a hand on his arm. "Wait," she whispered. She had seen this look before. It was the same laser focus he got when a fly managed to get into their quarters. This was his hunter mode. Marmalade didn't move for a full minute. The entire bridge was silent, every eye, biological and mechanical, fixed on the cat. The aliens watched, their amusement replaced by a strange new curiosity. They were witnessing a behavior they had only seen in documentaries about Earth's ancient predators. Then, with a speed that defied belief, Marmalade launched himself off the console. He didn't make a sound. He landed on the floor, crossed the 30-foot room in a blur of orange fur, and leaped straight up the wall. His claws found purchase in the seams of the paneling as he scrambled toward the ceiling vent. Suddenly, a section of the ceiling seemed to ripple. A shimmering, semi-invisible creature, about the size of a large dog with multiple spidery legs, detached itself from the vent cover. This was Specimen Zero. It had been clinging there, perfectly camouflaged, observing them, waiting, but it hadn't counted on Marmalade. The alien predator hissed, a sound like screeching metal, and lunged. But Marmalade was faster. He twisted in mid-air, a maneuver of impossible grace and agility. He latched onto the creature's back, his claws digging in deep. The predator thrashed wildly, slamming itself against the ceiling and walls, but the cat held on like he was fused to it. For millennia, this creature had been an apex predator in its own ecosystem. It was a master of stealth, a silent hunter that no prey had ever escaped. But it had never encountered a Felis caudus. It had never faced a creature that had spent 60 million years evolving for this exact purpose: to hunt, to grapple, and to kill small, fast-moving prey. Marmalade wasn't just clinging on. He was biting. He sunk his teeth into a junction of sinew and nerve at the base of the creature's skull, the one vulnerable spot he had instinctively identified. The predator let out a final, piercing shriek and fell to the floor, twitching before going still. Silence descended upon the bridge. The security team slowly lowered their weapons. The Xylan and Grebulan delegates stared, their various sensory organs wide with disbelief. Marmalade hopped off the dead alien. He shook his fur, stretched leisurely, and then trotted over to the body. He gave it a good sniff, as if to confirm his work. Then, he looked up at the assembled crew, let out a triumphant meow, and began purring, rubbing against Anya's leg, as if he'd just brought her a dead mouse. From that day on, no one in the Galactic Federation ever laughed at human pets again. The official report stated that Specimen Zero was neutralized by a specialized biodefensive countermeasure, designation Marmalade. Across the galaxy, the demand for Earth cats skyrocketed. The Grebulans offered priceless artifacts for a single kitten. The Xylans tried to reverse-engineer their predatory instincts. But they couldn't replicate the millions of years of evolution or the bond between a human and their pet. They learned that day that what they had seen as a useless, decorative organism was in fact a perfectly engineered, pocket-sized predator. And more importantly, they were our friends. And so, humanity's reputation in the galaxy changed. We were no longer seen as the sentimental fools who kept useless animals. We were the brilliant, clever species who had the foresight to bring along our own fluffy, purring, highly effective bodyguards. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from the cosmic frontier.